Hello there. First we had Rishi for the chopping block, but now it might be Michael Gove to replace Priti Patel. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below, and when subscribing please press the little bell, but also select the all option or you won't get any notifications. So the Prime Minister Boris Johnson is getting irritated at Priti Patel's performance at the Home Office and might be lining up the Minister for the Cabinet Office and Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, Michael Gove, for the job. But given Gove's admission to previous use of certain substances during his journalism days, putting him in charge of the police and dealing with drug crime might be an interesting move. But it does explain the state of journalism in some quarters. Anyway, when referring to the one elephant in the room problem concerning crossings from Calais, Boris Johnson reportedly said, "What the f*** is the Home Office doing? When is she going to sort this out?" Well, while we're tied up by the European Convention on Human Rights and have a neighbouring country that wants to use their situation politically, all egged on by Brussels, then it is going to be hard. Unless the politicians take the really tough decisions, that is. But I'm also wondering if Boris is getting ahead of himself, because the Borders Bill is still going through Parliament at the moment and has only got to its second reading. But I suppose public opinion doesn't wait around for the slow progress of legislation. It needs feeding with action this day. For his part, Michael Gove is said to be concentrating on the tasks of coordinating the country's response to the COVID pandemic, getting on with government reform and strengthening the union of the United Kingdom. And one source told the Daily Mail, "Michael and Boris are close again. With Rishi starting to flex his muscles in cabinet more, it is useful for Boris to have Michael back as an ally. The Home Office is a demanding job, but Michael has the brain power and the work ethic to cope with it." But you have to ask, does this, coming on the heels of the earlier story on Boris looking to demote Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor, to Health Secretary, show a PM that's getting a bit ragged at the edges? Is the pressure beginning to get to him? Or is it all just silly season froth and nonsense blown up out of all proportion? Now, before I get to the next item, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Link in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. Now, I recently did a video on the Scots being more averse to independence if it meant dropping the pound in favour of the euro. This came out of a Telegraph report on a survey commissioned by them where, after the don't knows were removed, just short of 52% opted to remain in the UK and just over 48% went for independence. But the report also said that 39% of respondents said they would be less likely to vote for independence if it meant adopting the euro. But as I and others pointed out, the Telegraph report on the survey conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies only said that 39% of respondents would be less likely to vote for independence if it meant ditching sterling for the euro. So raising the question of how many would be more likely to vote for independence if it meant adopting the euro. Redfield and Wilton Strategies have now published the extra data, and it is as follows. The question asked was, to what extent, if at all, would you be more or less likely to support Scottish independence if Scotland were to adopt the euro instead of the pound upon independence? And the answers were, clockwise from the top, significantly more likely to vote for independence if we adopt the euro, 7%, the thin blue wedge. More likely, 10%, the slightly larger green wedge. Neither more or less likely, 37%, the large grey wedge. less likely to vote for independence if we adopt the euro, 13%, the thin orange wedge, significantly less likely, 26%, the big red wedge, and don't knows, 7%, the thin grey wedge. So that's a total of 39% who would be less likely to vote for Indy if they have to join the euro. 17% who would be more likely to vote Indy, with 44% either don't know or it won't affect their decision. But importantly, Redfield and Wilton strategies do say that the 39% who would be less likely to vote for independence if they had to drop the pound include 19% of those who currently say they would vote yes on independence. Now that is significant. Yes, I know it's a snapshot of a small number of people, but those figures are not within the normal margin of error as far as I can tell. So that answers the question of whether those 39% would have an impact on a referendum, and the answer is it would make Indy less likely if Nicola Sturgeon said she would drop the pound. That'll give her food for thought. Now a better news story. The UK Defence Science and Technology Laboratory, which is an executive agency of the Ministry of Defence, has awarded a £9.5 million contract to Hampshire-based In-Space Missions to build a satellite to be launched to support the Titania Operational Concept Demonstrator. And this explores the military utility of low Earth orbit direct-to-Earth free space optical communications, which to you and me means using very narrow laser beams to transmit vast amounts of battlespace data at staggeringly high speeds. And this method is hard for our enemies to detect or interfere with. DSTL's Space Programme Manager, Dr. Michael Gove, said, "The Titania space mission will accelerate the development and adoption of space-based optical communications, allowing our armed forces the ability to operate in an increasingly contested environment. The Titania satellite will support the UK space sector and provide a solid foundation on which to conduct experimentation into FSOC and allow the science to be developed. We are delighted to be working with In-Space Missions on this highly innovative project." And a Ministry of Defence statement said, "With transfer speeds of multi-gigabytes per second, the increased rate of data transfer provided by FSOC will enable faster military decision-making, and when launched, Titania will focus on demonstrating the rapid transfer of intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance data. This world-leading science will inform choices for military space capabilities and could be utilised for future military satellite communications, potentially providing high-speed connectivity to link air, land and maritime platforms. A step towards giving the UK a real edge in defence." So what's your opinion on Priti Patel, 39% of Scots preferring the pound to the euro, and our new defence tech? Please like and comment below.